Thank you for listening today on Revealing Wholeness, sponsored by Infinity Whole Health. Check out our website at infinityWholeHealth.com, where we are revealing the eternal in each individual, the infinite in the individual. The creativity is made manifest. Limitation is let go. Now, here's your host, Dr. Troy Munson.
Hello and welcome. I'm Dr. Troy Munson on Revealing Wholeness. And today I have a guest in the studio and we're going to talk about gout. It's going to be so much fun. And so I've never done anything like this to this extent, but I'm going to take you through kind of my thinking as I work with a client, going through the possibilities of what other questions do I have when it comes about something like gout? You're going to play with me, right?
Oh, we're going to talk gout. Yes.
Okay, awesome. And so how long have you had the gout?
I've had a gout for about 5 years.
5 years. So off and on, gets bad, gets better.
That's correct.
Yep.
1 minute you can walk, the next minute you don't.
Really? It's
take a step.
that instant?
Yes.
Wow.
Within 24 hours. Yes.
Okay. And so over 5 years, so did it first hit you really hard 5 years ago?
Yes, it did.
Yeah, and that kind of woke you up. And you realized there's some things you should probably avoid.
That's correct.
And you started doing that?
Sorta.
Was it helpful when you did?
Well, you balanced it out. I think that the first time that I got it, they put me on medication and it was just kind of a slow process. There wasn't really any diets or any changes. It was just, you can't do this, you can't do that, and here is what I want you to do, come back in 30 days.
Yeah. So, do you have a uric acid blood test done often?
About every 6 months.
6 months, okay. And they're just doing that single test?
That's correct.
Okay. So, uric acid, when it builds up, we call it gout. And so it precipitates out into our tissues, and often because there's low blood flow and it's hard to get back up from the foot, so it's commonly in the foot. But the funny thing is I would bet it's probably greater than 50% of my clients that come in as a chiropractor that I'm looking at subclinical gout.
Subclinical gout.
So they don't have it in the toe or the big thumb, but they definitely have it in their back, their knees, their joints, and they're feeling achy. And if we did a uric acid test on them, we might find it creeping up towards 6.0, but we might find it at 5.0. And that'd say, that's well over a limit for you. You're probably subclinical gout. Now, why would that build up in the blood and now push off into the toe? It's almost always because the kidney and the liver are not performing well. So already I know about you. I'm probably dealing with a liver case, probably dealing with a kidney case. And so why would the kidneys become unburdened and now they can't remove uric acid, which is something that they're actually designed to do? Because over many, many years, the liver has not processed well, and so you've overburdened the kidneys. So we'd say, how long have you been waking up at night peeing a couple times?
Oh, for years.
Years.
And
so when we go to sleep, the kidneys become dormant. They don't filter anymore. And so they shouldn't be filling up the bladder because they're dormant. Now, if they're nudged by the liver says, hey, you got to wake up. I need help. And so the kidneys are like, what? Oh, okay, I can help. But I helped last night. And so they start filling up the bladder, and all of a sudden at 2 o'clock in the morning, we're waking up. And we go pee. And we go back to sleep. And at 4:30, we're waking up. We go pee. And so the more we do that, the more the kidneys are working and the more damage they're becoming. Because they're supposed to heal at night. They don't need to be filtering. They need to get inflammation built, out of them. They need their enzymes to go to work to clean the tubules and to do things well. And so as we now start working on a kidney, let's say we just work on kidneys with you. But we don't work on the liver. We're going to get somewhere, it's going to be okay. We're going to find that, hey, you can probably cheat a little bit on your diet, eating foods that are high in purines and things like that clog the kidneys. But ultimately, we're never going to fix the problem because the liver was supposed to be helping the whole time. The liver is supposed to be processing things. That's why we have kidneys kind of mid-afternoon. That's when they're doing their job of doing a lot of their healing and shutting down a little bit. But at night, they go dormant and finish and complete. The liver ramps up at night to pull its weight and to pull all that stuff off our blood so the kidneys can stay dormant and that we can get good sleep. That's why nighttime workers don't do well. It's really stressful for their body because it messes up the rhythm of what's been established for, hundreds of years by the human body. We sleep at night when it's dark, and that's when our liver is supposed to repair. So now the next thing is that we have to work on digestion with you. Would you say you have good digestion?
Not really, no.
Not really. So that would make perfect sense because if we start putting uric acid in there, that's going to mess up digestion too. Let me guess, you don't handle fats real well.
No.
Dairy isn't very good for you.
No.
Yeah, dairy is probably pretty bad. And isn't it interesting that I would ask that? Because that's going to be liver. Well, the worse the liver gets, the worse your ability to handle dairy is. You could probably do okay on raw dairy, and that would be all right. But again, the increased proteins right now might aggravate the gout a little bit until we get the liver really working. But we want to start cleaning the blood better. And in order to clean the blood, we've got to have a really strong digestion. So what do you think I'm going to tell you to do for digestion?
Quit eating red meat.
Well, you could do that. That's at least an option. And that's an easy one because that will help. But we could add something like a raw apple cider vinegar to you.
No.
Raw apple cider vinegar would acidify the gut. It would begin the process of adding good minerals that would help balance acidity and alkalinity, which would then unburden the kidneys somewhat. It would unburden some of the cells. The cells might say, hey, now that I got enough potassium coming in from the raw apple cider vinegar, I can actually pull in proteins and salt and things like that. I can even help unburden the kidneys even more. It's also great at detoxifying cells. So let's say if we're going to undo or get away from red meat and do raw apple cider vinegar, and we're going to start cleaning the digestive system, now we have cleaning happen throughout the body. Now the cells can begin to do phase 1, phase 2 detoxification, much like the liver does, unburden the liver even more, package things correctly, get it to the liver puts it in the gut and the bowel, and the bowel can now start to remove things better. All of a sudden, the liver starts to heal now. Now we get a little bit better bile production out of the liver, and so now we're emulsifying fats better. I can actually clean out. My bowels are more smooth. I'm having more than one bowel movement a day. They're not little pellets. They're more formed. They're better formed. I'll work with clients. I got a client come in with a hot gallbladder and gout-like symptoms as well. And in fact, I just got a text from them 3 days ago. They were off their diet for like 4 or 5 days. They were having some bad thumb pain. I said, tell me about your diet. She goes, yeah, I've been off it for a couple of days. Okay, so we got to get back on that. You got to do some extra water. Had her get back on some beta-col and some other things that are very liver supportive. And, within 24 hours, she's like, way better. Thank you. So little things like that are reminders. We think we're doing better, and now we just kind of fall off the bandwagon a little bit to see and test the system. How good really is it? You have a big steak, and you're like, my toes hurt. They're not bad, but they hurt. Okay, so we're still not there. So those are things that we go through the process that you'll see, because we want you to challenge the systems. We want you to know what you could eat that would bother it so that we can test it maybe every couple months. Hey, why don't you go eat that food that bothers you? Hey, it wasn't as bad this time. Great. Please don't put it back in your diet, but we'll test it again in 2 months. Because the thing is, we'll say, I can eat that a little bit more frequently now. And you shouldn't. It's an allergy to the system. It's hard on the system. So that's kind of a look at gout or uric acid. We really want to unpack this in a way that says, okay, we've got some dietary challenges. We've got some digestive challenges. We obviously have liver challenges and kidney challenges. And now we're having joint issues. And so here, by the time we get joint pain, we're 5 tiers down in problems. And to go back the other direction will take time. But is it doable?
I think so.
Oh, yeah. Sure, for sure. And so those are things that we don't want to limit you in any way, but say, hey, these are some things going on. Whenever we deal with digestive stuff, I would say, hey, if we think about it, I'm going to put an emotional point on this. If we have digestive stuff going on, then I'm going to look back to when your digestive system started, and do we have any anxiety or stress or life changes that happened around that time that may have initiated that? And so that's stuff that you must still handle, because the gout is part of that. It's calling out to you to say, could you fix some things inside my head too? Because I really need to let go of those belief systems and those hurts or pains that need to go away. So, hear those people out here listening to this. You kind of get a window into my thinking as a patient comes in or as a client comes in that has a condition, because there's things that we really want to enhance, and I know that it is so multifaceted that the client can't even begin to boggle their mind what goes through my mind as I'm asking and thinking of questions as they're talking to me, because there's so much to do, and I don't want it to make it overly complicated. It's totally doable, and as we go through this process, like, oh my gosh, I have those things. Somebody out there that's got gout that's listening to this, like, I do have digestive stuff too. Hey, I do have some early life trauma that, I thought I dealt with, but I can feel that it's just stuffed. And so those are things we want to encourage you by, looking into those old hurts and saying it's not a bad thing, and you can move through them quite quickly. They don't have to be as painful as you think. You can open them up and say, is this still okay for me to hold on to this stuff? And of course we want the answer to be no, it's not okay for you. Okay, well then what could I do differently? Well, I could totally change how I let go of stuff and be a happier, healthier, more vibrant person. So every time that you're not healthy, happy, and vibrant, you immediately think, is that what I want? No, because the directive I've put in that's new is to be happy, healthy, and vibrant. Okay, that's what I want. And you'll find it become easier and easier to let go of those old things, those old beliefs, and now really delve into a new you that's completely remade. That's some cool stuff, if it is. Any other things that you want to know about gout?
Well, it's very interesting to me, just the proteins that you can eat or can't eat. One doctor prescribed a way to simplify the gout. Mm-hmm. He says if it has eyes and a beak, don't eat it.
Interesting.
Yes.
Okay.
After leaving his office, I thought to myself, this is not going to work for me.
Yeah.
The next doctor gives me what's called the rich man's diet.
Sure.
Good luck, and I hope you can stay on it.
Yes.
Have a nice day. It seems like there's so much contrast between what's going on and what's not going on.
True. And, things that we don't know is we don't know your blood type. Mm-hmm. And so let's say that you're the classic A that's more of a vegetarian. And so, yeah, the proteins are going to be tough on you. You're going to do better with a fatty fish. I'm just going to guess right now that that's probably what you are as an A-type blood type. And, we could get things pretty good and watch your liver enzymes improve on blood tests and watch your kidney filtration numbers get better and your uric acid numbers get better and say, go eat a steak. And you still have gout symptoms. Because of the A-type blood that you are, you just don't handle red meat very well. And so that may be totally true for you. And chicken is marginal. Turkey might be better. But any fatty fish, salmon, things like that, great. Go for it. Mackerel, sardines, all that stuff, those are things that would be much better for you. But let's say we find out that you are an O-type blood. Then I'd say you are definitely not a good liver. That's where I'm going to pick first and foremost. So blood work's the next obvious step with you to find out what are we really dealing with? What's going on? Why are you not filtering? Could I immediately give you some kidney formulas that are going to have enzymes to clean out those tubules and try to get the uric acid down? Absolutely. We could do that very fast. And you would find immediate relief likely. And there's some products I could give you that should irritate the gout and we could kind of prove it. Yep, definitely have gout. That's a confirmation. Take these and see if it doesn't relieve the symptoms quite quickly. Hey, it did. Great. We have a fix for you in an emergency while we're continuing to fix the liver and the kidneys and digestion. So I'd still like to see a blood work where we'd see what is your blood type. Let's, make some better choices based on some things there. Even though I've talked about in other podcasts, I'm not going to hang my hat on the blood type, but we're going to use it as a guide. I'm not totally sold on the fact that I'm going to digest a food and then add it to a blood, and if it coagulates it's an allergy. Yes, there may be some validity there. I'm not going to discount it, but I'm also going to say, hey, there may be some things that you can handle in reality, in life, in the blood inside of you, but maybe not in a petri dish. Okay, so we're going to use it as a guide, but not as an end-all be-all, because there may be foods that you're like, whoa, this is on my I can-do list, and I know I can't eat that food. Okay, great. So you have some factors in your blood that are a little bit fine-tuning for you that you cannot do those things, and other things you find, hey, these things are okay to me. These actually do well with me. Great. So that's kind of how we would approach correcting the gout. And so we could do some low-protein diets and things like that, but I'd still want to know your blood type before I really say, yes, let's do low protein. So those of you out there thinking, yeah, I do low-protein diet too, but you don't know your blood type, definitely find that out. Look at blood type diet. It's not a bad idea to use it as a rule of thumb, or at least as a guide like we talked about. But as you have questions and concerns, if things are confusing to you, please shoot me an email, message me, whatever you need to do. And until next time, I'm Dr. Troy Munson on Revealing Wholeness.
Thanks for listening. If you have any questions or comments, you can reach Dr. Munson at 360-893-8586 or email him at chiroman@dr.com. That's chiroman@dr.com. Check out our current workshop schedule on Facebook at Infinity Whole Health.